Ladies and gentlemen, something very unusual just happened in Nigerian politics. A sitting Nigerian senator stood in front of journalists and said something that could completely change the way many people understand what has been happening in our politics over the past 2 years. And this was not a rumor. It was not a leak. It was not a report from anonymous sources. These were direct words spoken publicly by a senior political figure. According to him, there was a political plan designed years ago, and one of the conditions of that plan was this: Peter Obi must not remain in the Labour Party to contest future elections. Yes, you heard that correctly. The statement was made by Aminu Tambuwal, a former governor, former Speaker of the House of Representatives, and now a senator representing Sokoto South. He said this openly while speaking to journalists in Sokoto on Thursday. And according to him, this plan did not begin yesterday. It started more than 2 years ago. He claimed that a secret panel was created to study Nigeria's political future. This panel was not made up of random people. Tambuwal said it included professors, political experts, and experienced politicians from different parts of Nigeria. Their assignment was simple: study the direction Nigerian politics was moving and predict what could happen in the future. After their study, the panel reportedly reached a shocking conclusion. According to Tambuwal, they believed there were clear signs that the ruling party, All Progressives Congress, might be moving Nigeria toward a one-party political system. And if that was going to happen, two major things had to take place. First, the main opposition party, People's Democratic Party, needed to become weaker. Second, Peter Obi had to be removed from the Labour Party before the next election cycle. Tambuwal made it clear that this was not just speculation. He said it was one of the conditions of the plan. Not an accident, not a coincidence, but a deliberate strategy. And when you start looking closely at what has happened in Nigerian politics over the last 2 years, some people believe the pieces begin to connect. But before we go further, we must first understand who Aminu Tambuwal is and why many people take his words seriously. Tambuwal is not a small political figure. He has been deeply involved in Nigerian politics for over 2 decades. He first served in the House of Representatives, representing Kebbi and Tambuwal Federal Constituency for 3 consecutive terms. Later, he rose to become Speaker of the House of Representatives, which is one of the most powerful political positions in the country. From 2011 to 2015, he occupied that office. After that, he became governor of Sokoto State and served 2 full terms from 2015 to 2023. Sokoto is not just any state. It is home to the seat of the Sultan and holds enormous political influence in northern Nigeria. When his time as governor ended, Tambuwal returned to the National Assembly as a senator representing Sokoto South. In 2022, he even contested for the presidential ticket of the People's Democratic Party. But during the party's primary election, something interesting happened. Tambuwal stepped down at the last moment and asked his supporters to vote for Atiku Abubakar. That move shocked many observers and was seen as a major act of party loyalty. Because of his long experience inside the system, when Tambuwal talks about political strategies, many people believe he understands how decisions are made behind closed doors. So when he said a secret panel was formed 2 years ago to study Nigeria's political future, people began paying attention. According to him, the group carefully studied political developments and noticed warning signs. They believed opposition parties could gradually become too weak to challenge the ruling government. Instead of strong competition, smaller parties might only survive by negotiating with the party in power. In other words, Nigeria could slowly drift toward a dominant one-party system. Then came the statement that caused the biggest reaction. Tambuwal said in the strategy they observed, Peter Obi remaining in the Labour Party was considered a problem. Therefore, removing him from that platform before the next election cycle became a key condition. And now, here is where the story becomes even more interesting. If you look at the timeline of political events in Nigeria over the last 2 years, several developments suddenly begin to look connected. Around early 2024, tensions started rising inside the Labour Party. The party eventually split into 2 major factions. One group supported Julius Abure, while another faction aligned with Lamidi Apapa. Both sides claimed to be the legitimate leadership of the party. Both held separate meetings. Both issued conflicting statements, and because of this confusion, the party struggled to maintain a unified structure. For a party that carried the momentum of over 6 million votes in the 2023 presidential election, this internal crisis created serious problems. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party was also facing its own internal challenges. Leadership disputes, defections, and court battles began weakening the party's structure.
At the same time, discussions started emerging in the National Assembly about laws that could affect political party membership. Eventually, a controversial issue appeared, the question of dual party membership. This law suggested that if a politician's name appears on the membership registers of 2 different parties, that individual could be considered a member of neither, and that could disqualify them from contesting certain elections. Now, pause for a moment and think about this carefully. If a political figure leaves one party, but their name still appears on that party's membership register, and then their name also appears in another party's register, what happens? That is the exact legal question many analysts began asking. Because according to reports, Peter Obi resigned from the Labour Party on December 31, 2025. But due to the ongoing leadership dispute inside the party, there were questions about which faction had the authority to formally process that resignation. And this is where the political puzzle becomes even more complicated. Now let's continue. If Peter Obi's name somehow appears in both the Labour Party register and another party's register, then the dual membership law could create a serious legal challenge. And this is where the deadline becomes important. Political parties must submit their membership registers to the Electoral Commission before specific deadlines. If any irregularity appears in those records, it could affect a candidate's eligibility. Tambuwal's revelation suggests that some political strategies might have been designed years in advance. Whether that claim is true or not is something Nigerians will continue debating. But what we do know is that Tambuwal himself has now taken a bold step. He recently moved to the African Democratic Congress as part of a new political coalition. Several other politicians have also begun joining this alliance. Supporters believe this coalition could become one of the strongest opposition platforms Nigeria has seen since 2015. However, questions still remain. If the opposition was truly being weakened over the last 2 years, can it recover quickly enough before the next election? And if the political strategies Tambuwal described are real, are they still ongoing? These are the questions many Nigerians are now asking, because the 2027 election could become one of the most competitive political battles in Nigeria's modern history. And if there is anything Nigerian politics has taught us, it is this. Sometimes the biggest political moves are not made in public. They are planned quietly, years before the public ever notices them. Now, the big question is for you. After hearing Tambuwal's claims and looking at the timeline of events in Nigerian politics, do you believe these developments were simply coincidences or part of a bigger political strategy? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Let's discuss. And if you want more deep political analysis about Nigerian politics that many media platforms avoid, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this video, because the next few months in Nigerian politics may reveal even more surprises. And here on this channel, we will continue breaking it all down.
If the ADC does not field Peter Obi as its presidential candidate in 2027, do you agree with those who say the party will be stuck with spent forces and wouldn't stand a chance?
Well, I don't agree with that. I believe that the leadership of the ADC, from the very foundation, from what we've been discussing, one, we agreed that we must have very clear, transparent primary election. And if we have it, whoever emerges, all of us in the coalition will support that candidate. either Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, Rotimi Amechi,
or even yourself?
Well,
Are you
I'm
planning
talking
on
about
running?
I'm talking about those who have clearly indicated interest
Right.
in running.
And of those people, is there anyone that you particularly support?
Well, when we get to that bridge,
Well, we are at that bridge.
We are not there yet.
The bridge is this interview.
No. It's not this interview.
Right, okay.
I have been playing a major role in the coalition.
Right.
So it will be too insensitive for me
I understand
to come out right now and say I'm supporting
that.
this or that or that.
I understand that.
Yes.